You have now tuned into Insight Sundays, the show that brings you relevant news, youth and political topics with a new direction and focus for our communities. Log in with Facebook and get connected. Here's your host, Adrian Mickens.
Good evening, Indiana, and welcome to a special MLK edition of Insight Sundays right here on WHMB TV-40. I'm your host, Adrian Mickens, and as always, we have to acknowledge all of our sponsors, which are
Andrew J. Brown Academy, Indiana Christian Leadership Conference, or ICLC, Ramey and Haley Attorneys at Law, George Buck Elementary School, Alpha Foundation for the Youth, Buttons and Bows Hair Salon, Bethesda Temple Southeast Campus, New Vision Lighthouse Ministries, Hair Artistry Indy, Inner Beauty Program Incorporated, New Breed of Youth, First Achieve the Challenges for Excellence, Lighthouse Academy Charter School South and East Campus, Beach Grove Bible Church, and Sam Ash Music Store. Stay connected with us on all of our social media platforms, which is Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Snapchat, all at the title name of @Insight Sundays. Again, that is Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Snapchat, all at the title name of @Insight Sundays. As well as you can download the Insight Sundays mobile app on the App Store and Google Play Store. Again, you can download the Insight Sundays mobile app on the App Store and Google Play Store. This week on Insight Sundays, we'll travel back in time as we visit Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and all of his great achievements. Throughout the 20th century, we'll be hearing testimonies from some of the great community organizers that lived throughout the Civil Rights era. Let's check it out.
Born January 15th, 1929, a great servant leader was born. Martin Luther King Jr. Some call him a national figure. Some call him a pastor of a movement. And others call him an anointed leader sent at a time to deliver his people. King wanted more than just freedom from slavery, which had only been legal 64 years before his birth. King wanted social equality, the freedom to know that he and others would be respected as human beings, the self-dignity to know that my value is the same worth as the value of another human being, that a child's education is of the same standard as any other child's education, and that a man's family is worth the value of the man's work. Accomplishing these tasks, of course, was not easy, for two laws were already in place, the 13th and 14th Amendments, but not enough to hold in the Deep South. With his dedicated nonviolent movement, he helped to create the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Fair Housing Act of 1968, and the bill to hold up American society, the Voters' Right 15th Amendment, in 1965. Through vast determination, he and others were able to accomplish these goals. One recognizable name is Dr. Andrew J. Brown, a servant leader in the heart of Indianapolis. Being a part of the Great Generation and World War II veteran, he knew that domestic matters was not seen as equal to foreign matters. Helping to create the ICLC, Indiana Christian Leadership Conference, and the Indiana Black Expo, he was able to achieve these goals right here in the state of Indiana. Today, we relive these moments with the son of Dr. Andrew J. Brown, Reverend Dr. Thomas L. Brown, and the activists and organizations who were a part of the great civil rights movement.
How did your father and Dr. King become such close friends?
It's unique in the sense that Dad had stayed with the King family in his years in 6 to 8 weeks in Georgia with the family because of Dad had got messed up in the war. When I say messed up physically, injured and everything, so he was recouping. So he got to know the family. King and Dad happened to hook together in a relationship when Martin was in Montgomery, and then he had a revival in Atlanta that King was doing, and Dad was doing a revival in Atlanta, and somehow the connection took place. People were going to where Dad was preaching because Dad was known as a singer, and folk would pack out, and King, kind of in a gesture, said, now Brown, Andrew, as he would call him, Andrew, yeah, now you got to cool it. You messing up my revival time. So they had a kind of unique kind of fellowship. How that actually, one would say, actually was birthed, I would say probably because of the early years that Dad in the 40s, 45, was with that King family.
How do you feel that Dr. King influenced your father?
The influence that King had on him was the philosophical base of nonviolence as the way. Here's a man that's been in World War II, almost lost his leg, and fighting for this, comes back here and faces all the ridiculous segregation and prejudice and hate. Yeah, he influenced him on nonviolence. And he's still trying to influence, his martyrdom is still trying to influence us all to be nonviolent. For me, it became easy because I started off young, and then I was able to teach nonviolence. But that's not an easy thing for people to embrace, not in this 21st century.
So was your father part of organizing the March on Washington, D.C.?
Dad was like the other preachers, participating and organizing other preachers and churches to participate. But that initiative for Martin really was taking place, and probably listeners can remain, but it was also an impact by the unions too. And King was just one of the speakers of the many, but the movement had set the stage in the 60s. You're looking at another paradigm when the 60s kick in and quote, the civil rights movement began to be the term. We were still using the term, particularly I was in SNCC in 61, 62, so I know up to, we were using the term liberation, social change, social justice. We didn't want civil rights. We wanted liberation. One of our first songs was freedom. We want old freedom, old freedom. But you know how it went.
Could you explain what SNCC is?
The Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. We had our own things. We organized out of Greensboro, John Lewis and Jim Funk, I could name Julian Bond, whole bunch of guys I got to know out of SNCC. My first assignment in SNCC was Selma, Alabama. Now this is in 62. The history on Selma, you just get a little tidbit of it through the movies, but 62 all the way to the Great March. But the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee focuses were Alabama, Mississippi, which was ruthless. It was Georgia. It was Tennessee. It was Louisiana, which made me very nervous because you get lost in there. But the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee was kind of the student movement. Many of the students came out of the East and out of Nashville, and I started calling off names. I'm going to miss some. Some people are going to be very uncomfortable. But I was from Indianapolis, and I was in the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, and my mother was about to have a stroke because she didn't send me to school to be in SNCC. And at that time, I was probably the only person in Indiana with SNCC.
Do you feel as though some of the contemporary movements like Black Lives Matter, Stand Up for Racial Justice, do you feel as though they've learned the lessons?
I see that they are learning from their own experiences. And there is a problem that we're not, let me say it this way, the technology in the media game, and I got a young brother teaching me, and my head is dizzy. The dynamics is that the media and technology and education and history has not created a coalition to educate them on where they are and where they came from. One challenge I'm giving, and it's probably my challenge, is I decided I'm going to write a letter back to myself 50 years ago. Knowing what I've done now, I'm going to write a letter to Thomas L. Brown and say, hey, here's what you need to be prepared for.
If you were to be able to talk to Dr. King now, 50 years later, what would you have asked him that you didn't ask him when you were such a young man?
Here's what I would say. Would you do the same thing the same way? And I think I'd get an answer, because before he left, I remember hearing them say, I heard them in a room said, Brown, he would call Dad Andrew, and they were saying, it was I don't forget where it was, but I remember him saying, our people have forgotten and got off track. We should be focusing on economics. They become integrated, but we need to focus on economics. And if you notice, people really study the pattern when we started Operation Breadbasket and started developing economic thought, thinking. That's a whole nother cultural dynamics that Dad said it to me so many times. He said, son, we were the production slaves. And he said, guess what? we're the consumer slave. He said that to me many times, and then I went into a whole, that's why I said I wasn't planning on coming back here. Look at economics.
So tell us a little bit about the Harambe show.
Operation Breadbasket in 1968, and Harambe, we were broadcasting. We broadcasted, and I added about 15 years ago the term Harambe, because Harambe is a Swahili word meaning caring community. We're still in operation, and as a broadcast, we are 50 years in regard to being the oldest station on radio here in the state of Indiana. So when Dad passed, I said to my mom, I can give it up now. And she said, oh, no, you got to keep doing it. Now, that wasn't in my plan either. But so I kept on doing it with the help of others, even with Reverend Gill and others, focusing, trying to keep and inform people of the social issues and social justices that need to be addressed. And some of them were very controversial because I was supportive of the AIDS initiative and programs, because a lot of folk had a thing against people who had AIDS, and it was an epidemic in the black psychic. And so I took that on, began to work with the AIDS Fund and work with other issues that people don't want to touch.
Hello, my name is Crystal Hines of the Inner Beauty Program, where I'm the founder and president. We have been enriching and inspiring and empowering youth ages 8 to 18 since 2002. Our original purpose of the program is to have girls focus on their inner attributes in a world where the outer appearance is the focal point. We have a dynamic staff of women who are here to provide all types of programming for your young ladies, including life coaching, mentoring, tutoring, boot camps, and special events. Please stay connected with us through our website, myinnerbeautyprogram.org, our Facebook page, Inner Beauty Program Inc., and our mobile app, Inner Beauty. Thank you.
The civil justice system in the United States was developed intentionally by our founding fathers. They knew and had the wisdom to foresee that individuals would need protection from each other and from their government. They also saw and foresaw a day when they would need protection from a corporate entity, the new corporate citizen. Here at Ramey and Haley, we bring passion and experience to every file we open, every client for whom we become their lawyer.
This is Pastor Derek Miller, and I'm so excited about introducing you to the fruitful ministry here at Bethesda Temple Southeast Campus. I'm here with my lovely wife, Sister Valerie Miller.
Bethesda Temple Southeast Campus is a community church with the community at heart.
In 2008, I began collaborating with my bishop, Roy Steenfield Sr., on some outreach initiatives on the southeast side of Indianapolis at Bethel Park Community Center. It was here where we established Teen Nights, and the Inner Youth Achievers College Tour program was also birthed out of this initiative. God saw fit for next level growth, and in 2015, the Lord opened a major door for Bethesda Temple Southeast Campus.
The mission of Bethesda Temple Southeast Campus is to dedicate our lives to proclaim the gospel message of our Lord Savior Jesus Christ through our witness, loving God's people through our service, and strengthening communities through spiritually sound doctrine.
Bethesda Temple Southeast Campus offers an effective children's church ministry with curriculum-based instruction. We also offer men, women, and teens ministries. We can be reached at 317-941-6143. Or you can find us on the World Wide Web, www.btacsouth.org.
Or download our mobile app, Bethesda South, via Google Play or the App Store.
Bethesda Temple Southeast Campus, a place of compassion,
a place of love,
a place where God is.
Since 4th grade, Indianapolis Lighthouse College Prep has been my home.
Lighthouse gave me the opportunity to take college classes for dual credits.
Lighthouse allows me to do community service, mentoring younger students.
At Lighthouse, I take classes geared towards a career that I'm interested in.
I'm a Lighthouse Scholar from kindergarten to college.
I am a Lighthouse Scholar from kindergarten to college.
I'm a Lighthouse Scholar graduating this year and on my way to college. Apply at lighthouse-academies.org.
Buttons and Bows Nail and Hair Salon welcomes you to our new location at 6233 Allisonville Road, where we service all nationalities. We are a full nail and hair salon. Booth space available. Call 317-362-0323 for more info.
Welcome back, Indiana, to Insight Sundays right here on WHMB TV-40. I'm your host, Adrian Mickens, and I hope so far that you've enjoyed part 1 of the MLK documentary series. Martin Luther King Jr. was an extraordinary man who not only changed this nation but the world with his philosophy and understanding about nonviolence. Let's check out part 2.
What are some of your memories of Reverend Brown?
Well, I remember him as being also a very caring person. As I said, I belong to St. Rita Catholic Church, which is right down the street on the other corner. And Father Bernard L. Strange and Reverend Brown were very dear friends. And a lot of people thought that they didn't like each other, but they did. They cared about each other. And they worked together on various issues. They went on marches together. I remember one of the sayings that he always said was that, I am not a king, but I am a king maker. And I had to remind him that you had women working with him and you make queens too, just like you make kings. And so we often laughed about that. But he was very active in the community. He was very active in the NAACP. I run across some things that he had his tentacles in when he was involved in the NAACP. He was very active in that. He was active within the various churches around the city, and that was very comforting to a lot of people too, because he was not only active with the Baptists, he was active with all the churches, the rabbis, the imams, and everybody. And I think that made a difference too, about getting people involved in the movement and to get them to do the things that they needed to do and to get their mind clicking in the right direction.
So what are some of the projects that he had in the city?
There were 3 of us, Barbara Wilson, Helen Perkins, Charles, and myself, went to Chicago because we were friends with Reverend Jackson, and he had an expo, and we said, we can do this. So we went up to Metal to see what he was doing and how he put it together. And we came back and gave the idea to Reverend Brown. Now, we had to kind of twist him and turn him a little bit to get him to kind of go along with the idea, but then we talked about bringing other people in to help make it Indianapolis Expo, and then it eventually became a statewide organization. But it was to emphasize the things that blacks had done in corporate America, in major industries around the city. And it was to talk about the people who had just started from scratch, came from the bottom up, and had leading positions in various companies in the city.
St. John's Missionary Baptist Church on Saturday evolved into a Saturday church because it was an open door policy. Individuals from all across the city could come there, voice their concerns, come there, find out what was going on, come there and meet people. I remember George Thorier, who drove every Saturday from Richmond, Indiana. He was an attorney. John Preston Ward was a blind attorney. He came. John Moss. Everyone came. Dr. Benjamin Osborne, who was the Center Township trustee from Jamaica, he came and all gave input. And you go there, everyone that you would see or read about in the paper, hear on the see on the TV or whatever, you could find a breadbasket. And we have to understand that part of Dr. Brown's charisma was that he was an excellent vocalist. He was an excellent vocalist. He hailed from Duncan, Mississippi, and he, I don't know exactly when he met Dr. King, but Dr. King, as you probably did in some of you found out in some of your research, graduated from Morehouse at the age of at a very early age and everything. And him and Dr. King became friends, and they just cultivated their relationship. Now, Miss Hill brought about the fact that Dr. Brown brought speakers from all across the country. They were all part of Dr. King's advisory board for the Southern Christian Literature Conference. A lot of them were regional. One of the professors at Notre Dame University said that Dr. King and Dr. Brown were the only preachers I found in the movement. And I had to remind him that a lot of those preachers were regional. And so they were kind of, in the same situation that Dr. Brown was. They were powerful local, they were in touch with local, politics were local, everything starts local. And that's where Dr. King got his input, that's where Dr. King got his thrust, that's where Dr. King got his spiritual life.
Reverend Brown was very influential in the campaign for Reverend Jesse Jackson to become president. And when he invited Jesse here to get the support of the ministers, it was a packed room. Now, whether or not they voted to get him in office, I think not, but it was very interesting, the magnetism of Reverend Brown to draw the right kind of people for the right event. But I don't want to talk about Reverend Brown without mentioning his spirituality. The church was packed on Sundays. It was packed on Wednesday nights. And he was so concerned about people coming on Wednesday night and not having their supper that he started having dinner. And he was just such an outgoing person, but he knew how, and I think this is one of his great gifts. You could feel the spiritualness about him, because everything he did it with love. That was his demeanor, love in action. And you could be around him and you could sit for hours without getting bored or what time is it, it's time to go. But he had that type of charisma to keep your attention, because everything that he was talking about concerned you, and you felt it. And I think that he was able to get more people registered to vote than anyone in the city.
During the last 5 years, National Heritage Academies ranked in the top 25% of U.S. schools for academic growth.
I'm learning a lot.
We want you to have academic success, but we want you to have emotional success.
They teach me to be a good person.
My children feel very safe.
That's why 92% of our parents recommend us.
We are in the business of producing excellent human beings. That's our legacy to the world.
Beach Grove Bible Church. Beach Grove Bible Church. Beach Grove Bible Church. Beach Grove Bible Church.
I just got the best deal on my new guitar at Sam Ash.
I always get advice I can trust.
I got it in time for my gig.
The coolest selection of music and sound gear, always at the guaranteed lowest prices. Sam Ash, the real deal. Get zero interest financing for 24 months with your Sam Ash credit card.
Hello everybody, my name is Pastor Aaron Boyd. I'm the pastor at New Vision Lighthouse, and we're located at the corner of 46 in Arlington and Devonton Plaza. We welcome you to come and worship with us every Sunday at 11 a.m. We have midweek Bible study on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Our mission is simply this, to let our light shine in our communities and in our families. You can like us on Facebook, visit us on the web at newvisionlighthouse.com. God bless you. Be careful and be prayerful.
Hi, I'm Dr. Holden Flynn, principal at George Buck Elementary School. I'd like to share with you why George Buck is a great school. First, we have an amazing staff. We are invested in children succeeding. We spend time getting to know and assessing all of our students so we can build an instructional program that meets their individual needs. Second, we use an incentive system to encourage and reward students. We introduce students to fine arts by offering music and art to all. And last, we offer a variety of extracurricular activities, which include basketball, cheerleading, soccer, volleyball, and after-school tutoring with the Boys and Girls Club. If you are interested in finding out more information about George Buck Elementary School, please call us at 317-226-4294 or email at holdenflynnt@myips.org.
Download New Boy mobile app. Check out our features. comprehensive homepage, scheduled events, real-time notifications, latest news, download on App Store and Google Play.
Thank you, Indiana, for tuning in to Insight Sundays right here on WHMB TV-40. Make sure that you stay connected with us on all of our social media platforms, which is Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Snapchat, all at the title name of @Insight Sundays. Again, that is Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Snapchat, all at the title name of @Insight Sundays, as well as you can download the Insight Sundays mobile app on the App Store and Google Play Store. Again, you can download the Insight Sundays mobile app on the App Store and Google Play Store. Indiana, thank you for tuning in to the MLK documentary series Part 1, as Part 2 will air January 27th. And as always, I want to leave you with a message and a word from God. Romans 15:2. Each of us should please our neighbors for their good, to build them up. Indianapolis, you spoke and we listened. Tune in to Insight Sundays on WHMB 40 at 5 p.m. as we give you more social issues and relevant news.
Also, tune in every third Sunday where we'll be educating on health and beauty with Mommy and me, and also doing makeovers.
So tune in to Insight Sundays November 4th on WHMB 40 at 5 p.m. Check your local listing for your TV programming. And from Insight Sundays, God bless you and your family.